Good evening.
Thank you.
Well, it is evening, isn't it?
Yes, it is actually. Well, yes.
I mean, except of course for those viewers celebrating the American elections by tuning into this particular broadcast. Our viewer.
Our viewer. I think we might have two viewers now, one here and one in the States.
Do you think?
Yes.
What's it? My contacts in the States.
My contacts for the Cane Daytona, the finest of. Is it a Nicaraguan blend? The Cane
I don't
Daytona?
know. The Cane Daytona.
The finest. So
anyway, what we are today, I mean, not just celebrating the American election,
no,
momentous so that is,
very good.
we are celebrating 175 years of Partagas.
Yes, it's good, isn't it?
And we have a few well, normally I'd be in Havana around about now celebrating at the Partagas festival.
Ah, the Partagas.
But events beyond my control have rather sort of curtailed my travel arrangements and restricted me to the ancestral hovel.
So we're having our own festival.
We are. I've just taken a stroll through the parklands of the ancestral hovel and have returned refreshed.
Slightly kind of, subdued festival, but we do have a few cigars as companions.
Yes, we do. And Freddie, would you like to
do some sort of
zoom in and maybe look at those a bit more? We have a bunch of these sort of slightly knackered Partagas 898 somewhere.
You've got the Series E number 2, number 1, my mistake, which is, I believe, was Ana Lopez played a big role in creating this in the book.
That's one from the book, is it?
Made, for the Book of 20.
Yeah, that's a highly regarded cigar.
Yes.
As is this one here from 2017, the Partagas Series number 1. One of the most unknown sort of gems, really, of modern Partagas production. Then, of course, the Lusitania Reserva, a very fine cigar, and the Maduros, which are a new upmarket addition to the Partagas.
We've missed the Corona Gorda, the Añejado as well.
Oh,
which is my kind of size. I like that kind of size.
It's slightly box pressed by the look of it.
But that's.
And the Partagas Series D number 4 is the sort of cigar that people who kind of like a strong cigar but don't know much about cigars.
We don't have one here.
We don't have one here.
It's too popular.
It's too popular.
Yeah.
Although I think I've mentioned that once in the 1980s they were down to making just 5,000 of those a year.
And we got this is the Partagas Maduro number 2. The one of the line of 3, and this one's a 55.
55,
ring
really?
gauge.
Gee whiz. Could you
it's a very unique size. It's a really short pyramid.
Smells
like a Petit Bellicoso, but extra wide.
Spicy.
Would you need a cutter?
Yeah, I might have that cutter. It's a good cutter, actually, isn't it? Yes.
I've got my Septimo cutter, which is fitting, actually, because this is a pretty wide gauge and quite similar to that of the
Where are you cutting yours?
I'm just seeing if it would fit past the end, but it doesn't. Where am I?
Well, that's very useful. Where are you going to cut it? About there?
Yeah. I mean, I don't like cutting too much off.
Maybe I'll cut it.
Maybe I'll cut a little bit more off.
Maybe, do you think?
Cut the whole thing. Cut it in half. Start. Look at that.
Oh,
yeah.
Brilliant.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's proper cutting there. We don't miss it. We've got Frederick Remington here for the added... Because as we're in our sort of American-inspired garments today, in honour of the
black and red as well.
Sleepy Joe rest. Well, I think it's the wrong losing party we're on side of here. Isn't blue the party of Sleepy Joe?
I don't know. I'm toasting it. You see? Look at this. Gas and plentiful gas.
Oh, this is delicious. What's quite interesting about this cigar is that it's got sweetness and strength. I used to, in my youth, such a long time ago, regard Partagas as being a bit on the kind of strong side. But these...
I think it still is.
It is. But it's aromatic, Max. It's aromatic.
I don't know. I always think they're quite spicy. Or they can get quite spicy. Sometimes overpower me. I'm not so keen on Partagas. Although I mean, the more popular brands, I do like things like the Partagas Du Connoisseur number 3, which is a very slender ring gauge, and I think Hunters released it as one of their old and rare selections.
Well, you're ahead of me on that one, I have to say.
That was a good one. And I saw these Partagas Cristales as well a while ago,
that's
which
nice.
is quite interesting.
And of course we don't have a Culebras either, the twisted cigar.
The Culebras, yes.
It's a sort of cigar that resembles a plaited corn dolly or something along those lines. It's a sort
I
of,
like this cigar.
This is a great size. It's
Really really woody, very deep in
woody,
flavour.
rich, and sweet. You get the sweetness from the dark wrapper.
You really do, and I've had...
And they're beautiful wrappers. I mean, I
All of
normally
these, I
prefer
think.
a slightly more golden wrapper, but they're all really beautiful wrappers. They go to some trouble with this.
I had this one, and I found it more spicy, definitely, even in the first few puffs than this initially is.
Could be the bigger ring gauge making
Could
it
be.
cooler and richer.
That's
I
very
don't know.
true.
I mean, God knows what the hell do I know.
This is very, very sweet so far. But I
Well,
mean,
it's
apart
good.
from
We
some
like that.
smoke.
We like that. We like that. I haven't lit them properly. Partagas, 175 years old. Don Jaime Partagas went as a teenager to the New World. He was a Catalan. And he is the man who built this famous brand. Before the revolution, I think it was accounting for 25% almost of all Cuban cigars exported. That one factory. And the factory
That's
itself...
like the most, you know, next to the Alaguito. It's
Well, it was the second, before the revolution, the second most successful cigar factory. Of course, the name of the first most successful cigar factory in terms of export eludes me, I think. But it was, I mean, or I can't, God knows, I can't even know what I'm talking about. But it was a big producer, and it was a huge tourist attraction. I would say, like you were going to say, the most famous factory in Havana.
yeah, it's great, and they make all the Elie Bleu make these humidors of the Partagas factory, I think, as well. Which is very
Yes,
cool.
it's sort of like parakeet colours, I describe it. It's just behind the Capitolio. This
Has it always been that colour? All those colours?
yes, let's say
I
it
hope
has.
so.
Let's say it
It's
has.
very happy looking.
I know, but you know what? It's not so happy these days because they haven't made any cigars there for a very, very long time. I think they shut it in around about 2012 or something
But
like that.
can you go on
2011.
tours still in the inside?
I don't think you can go to the shop.
There's the shop, the famous shop. That's very famous, isn't it?
It is. Although I remember Fabien had a couple of humidors that had some cigars mysteriously replaced with other cigars there, which was a great shame. No, that factory's been shut for a while. I remember I interviewed the last director, I think, was Hilda Barros, or Hilda Barrow, the famous Hilda Barrow, who studied in the Soviet Union, and
She sounds great.
Oh, she was brilliant. I think she wound up in prison, poor thing, but she was brilliant.
Oh, right. That's no good.
But I remember tasting the Partagas Series D No. 4 Reserva with her, which was for me still the outstanding creation of the
Which one?
Reserva series.
The,
Partagas Series D No. 4
Reserva.
Reserva.
Next, what was that? Next, close to that, I suppose, is the Lusitania. The Grand
Lusitania,
Reserva.
again,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
really
That's
do
a Grand
seem
Reserva.
they really do seem to lend themselves to the Reserva and Grand Reserva treatment.
This was 2007, wasn't it? When this was released,
I don't know. I think maybe a little later.
or was it the tobaccos from 2007? Is it
Maybe
Coseca
2012 or something. I don't know, and we should have looked this up really before we came on air.
Well, you know.
But it is a great cigar. Well, you know. I love that. Well, you know. That's a proper thing. Well, I could read to you, seeing as you're in such a sort of expansive mood today. I could read to you. The Partagas Short. Have you been introduced to the Partagas Short yet?
You love the Partagas Short.
I love it
You
because
always say that you have a cabinet of them hidden away somewhere.
I do, because of Mark Burley.
Never seen the light of day. It's in some sort of. Where do you keep them? Do you keep them in the cellar here?
Mm-hmm.
That's good. I like that.
Mark Burley
Aging.
introduced me to the Partagas.
Are they very old?
No, I got them in Cuba this year, so they're probably.
Oh, what? There's not even.
No, they're probably in the box. They're probably 5 minutes old or something when I bought them.
Oh, good.
Well, after Don Jaime de Partagas, it was owned by a banker who then sold it on to the Cifuentes family, whose name I think is...
The Cifuentes.
Yes, and there's lots of Cifuentes here. And then they had this rather remarkable... look at this, you see. Look. Commemoration.
Oh, that's great. Look at that. What is that?
That's a very knackered tin.
Is it a tin of cigars?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good.
It's brilliant, isn't it? And it's got the Capitolio on it. And the Capitolio used to be where they had a railway station, so it would make great sense to have a factory near there because you could just unload the
Yes,
bales.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's great. And do you remember what's that very, very slender Partagas? Was there one almost as slender as the Punch Ninfas?
The Punch Ninfas.
The Ninfas.
The legendary cigar.
Oh, it's so good. I have to get some punching in first.
Yes.
But this is, so far, this cigar is great. It's a lovely construction. It felt very firm, but as soon as I cut it, you could tell the draw was perfect.
You prefer that. Now, in 1945, they celebrated the, as one might suggest, the 100th anniversary with this amazing sort of document that was reproduced in this extremely good book. I recommend it. I didn't even write it, and I recommend it. So, I mean, that's how good this book is. Do you know what I mean?
It's a great book.
It says, this is the best bit here. Opinions throughout the world concerning the tranquil delight experiences smoking Havana cigars may be counted by the thousands, well, millions probably, these days. There are artificially provoked pleasures which affect a man's intellectual or organic functions adversely.
This is great. Who wrote
No
this?
so Havana cigars. Desambiaux, the famous authority Desambiaux, says, it is not necessary to be asleep to dream. Havana cigars, in addition to multiplying sensations, do not degrade a man as does opium, do not stupefy as does hashish.
Hey,
On the contrary,
look at
it
this.
leaves his dignity intact, and this is the reason it has vanquished in the Occident the dangerous drugs of the Orient.
How brilliant is this?
Yes, and then there's more. I mean, Desambiaux. I mean,
When was this written?
I don't know, but I'm going to look this guy up because he is brilliant. It gets better. Regarding the art of smoking, let us regard the art of smoking.
What does he say about regarding it?
Keep the light of your cigar veiled and mysterious, so that the fairies may bask in its bluish smoke. The fairies may bask in its bluish smoke.
He must have been under the influence of hashish.
I don't think so.
Opium, maybe.
Maybe. The Sybarites, reclining on their beds of roses, yawned from dawn to dusk and were obliged to abandon their couches to see if the roses had wilted. Well, I mean, you know.
This is great.
No, I know, we need some rose couches. They would never have had to worry about such a matter if they could have smoked delicious cigars.
We should have every cigar should have this.
Desambiaux. I mean, Desambiaux. That man should have won a Nobel Prize for Literature in my book.
What a guy.
Yeah, I mean, if only he'd been here with us, he would have made the broadcast.
Yes, a rumping and a jumping. Very, very good. I like that. Do we have any more readings?
I'm sure
There's only one per episode. We can't overload the viewer.
We mustn't overload the viewer with intellectual stimulus.
Yeah.
No. I don't like intellectual stimulus. I mean, it's all very well. I mean, there's nothing wrong. I mean, a little learning is a dangerous thing, so a lot of it could be positively lethal, I think, really. So I think that's enough erudition for one episode.
Especially what they're learning from us.
Yes. Anyway, shall we adjourn for a moment to allow Freddie to rest his weary arms?
Yes.
And allow the fairies to dance and to bask
in the blue smoke.
In the bluish smoke of our fine Havana cigars without degrading our dignity.
Not like opium.
Or hashish.
Lord Father.
Max,
yes, tell me
I mistook what you said earlier. I was so tied up in the voting.
Yes, the election.
That actually I thought you meant red and blue in the American political sense, whereas actually you meant the red of the Partagas band.
Yes, the red of the Partagas band. And we are meant to be, I thought we were initially meant to match it with the clothing.
Well, that's what I was actually thinking of doing. I mean, this is LL Bean, I think, and the shoes are from Corthay.
LL Cool J.
Is that LL Cool J.
Yeah,
no, and I got my Western belt, obviously feeling subliminal channeling of the American election.
I've got my your old Sun Records belt on, which is very good.
Elvis. Was it an Elvis or something else?
It is. I'll tell you who it is. I have to read it upside down, so not right now.
Okay, good. We'll do that.
Oh, there you go. Carl Perkins.
The
Carl
finest. Perkins, the finest. And
I've got cowboy boots on as well. Look at this.
Very impressive.
This is very impressive, isn't
and
it?
I've got my red elastic-sided.
And then we move to the cigar, the accessory. Maybe our clothes are accessories to the
cigar.
cigars.
Well, the cigar, I have to say, is a revelation. I mean, for me, it just shows what Partagas has become in recent years. It's really developed into a proper brand with you can I mean, it's not just you go to it for a certain flavor profile. You can explore. There's this kind of now this world of Partagas, if you like there is the world of Cohiba. You can enter it and have all sorts of different flavor experiences. I mean, the Maduro.
You can. It's quite interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, these are so much sweeter than I think any other Partagas I've tried. I mean, I've had a few aged Partagas, which of course become slightly sweeter with the time they've had resting. But this, off the bat is so sweet, and the smoke fills your mouth, and it's almost kind of like syrup. It's so kind of rich.
Yes, but syrupy in a good way.
Yeah, in a good way.
I mean, it's a great experience, this cigar, I have
syrup
to say.
can only be a good thing for me. I love syrup,
sugar. Your ash is also beautifully striated.
Look at that, it's amazing, isn't it?
Very geometrically correct.
And I haven't had the need to ash it either. It's
Nor
just,
me.
It's almost as if there's a rod up the middle keeping it up.
I know. But that's the level we go to make the film work.
Yeah, but it's, yes, it's brilliant. And I wasn't expecting it to be so approachable either.
No, you were quite sceptical of the value of testing this one, weren't you?
Yes, I mean I had the Maduro number 3, and it was a good cigar, but it was kind of like a firecracker. It was a bit too spicy and peppery for me. But maybe I was smoking it too quickly. Could be another.
Yeah, it's not a good idea to overdo it with these things,
No, I could have been smoking it too quickly.
I mean, unless you're sharry, you don't really want to be choking one of these down,
Yeah, but it's really, really nice, and it's very good. It's a very good evening smoke, I'd say.
As it is evening this evening.
As it is evening this evening.
A cigar for the early winter evenings.
Yes.
That you could then go
by the fire.
By the fire, have the cigar, have a little lie down maybe, and then have some supper and a larger cigar.
And some, as the Americans say, cocoa. Have some cocoa.
Do they say that?
Yes.
Are you
Isn't
sure?
it? Is that hot chocolate?
I think they have milk and cookies. Is America?
No, but there's only one for some cocoa.
Well, I think that's more of a sort of a old English expression, isn't it?
Is it English? I don't know. I've seen it in American movies.
No, but I mean,
an American movie the other day, actually.
Maybe they were trying to demonstrate a certain European sophistication in their law.
Yes.
Instead of saying, "Would you like some milk and cookies?" they said, "Would you like some cocoa?"
Anybody for some cocoa and crackers? Is that a...
No, crackers are what you have. I think they're sort of like water biscuits or something like that.
Yes. Yes, exactly. But yes, and it's very, very pleasant. But I've been eyeing up this...
I know you
Grand
have.
Reserva.
I know we're having that later. I've got to find another one that we can have one each.
We could share that pretty much. I mean, chop
Cut
it in half. And there you go. These are meant to be one of the better añejados.
Añejados have been a slight disappointment, I found.
You have another one here, actually. You have the Romeo. I mean, we're going a bit off topic, but as it's here, you have the Romeo añejado, which is the Churchill, which has actually got, I think, something like
is that an añejado or is
7 years of age.
Is that an añejado?
It is.
It's
an añejado.
Oh,
so it's
and
very
what's that going to be like?
I think it's very nice. It's relatively light. It's kind of sweet and aromatic. It's got that nuttiness to these cigars that I like. Not quite as rich in flavour as this Partagas is.
But this is where the sort of youth of a blend, when properly harnessed, is actually quite a good thing, isn't it? Because it's definitely not an old cigar, this.
Oh no, it's the most recent of their releases from the line.
But it gives you this... It's with the youth has been kind of tempered.
Yes, I mean maybe it's partially due to the extra age on the wrapper leaf as well.
I think that is the case. And I mean
the mature leaf,
yes.
Higher to the top of the plant.
And it's sweeter for sure, and that definitely... I mean, look, viewer, if you're still with us...
The viewer in the States and...
two viewers. Our numbers really have gone through the roof on this one.
And each of the viewers are watching videos at least 3,000 times each, which is really quite
very,
good.
very kind of you.
Very kind of you.
Do tell your friends. And tell everybody that these are jolly nice cigars. And I wouldn't say no to a box for Christmas, Max.
No.
Or my birthday, which is coming up on December the 2nd.
I see how it is.
Yeah, it's a nice cigar.
Yes. There might be a few missing from the box, but fill that up with chocolate or something. Oh, you don't eat chocolate anymore, that's the thing. But these are quite almost as good as chocolate, aren't they?
They are.
Yeah.
They are. They're nice. Oh.
It's like you're smoking chocolate.
Anyway, viewer, smoking chocolate. I like that. Viewer,
it's good, isn't it?
We're continuing to fight the virus one corona at a time.
Yes, in the second lockdown, which is...
With the second lockdown, where we are going to be your companion through these dark and dreary days.
Yes.
If we're still, gosh, anyway. Look, viewer, thank you ever so much for tuning in. We're jolly grateful.
Very kind. Good night.
Goodbye.